This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. My guest today is Robbie Heger. Robbie is the president and CEO of Endaoment, the first fully on-chain 501 tax-exempt public charity providing a wide range of philanthropic financial services on the blockchain. Hey, this is pretty cool. Welcome to the show, Robbie.
Hey, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you here, Robbie. So yeah, this is as I say, quite cool stuff. So I think I think I'm going to call this podcast Smart Contract Philanthropy because that's I like that a lot. So I think to begin with, look, we're going to talk all about Endaoment, but what does Smart Contract Philanthropy mean?
Smart Contract Philanthropy is really quite semantic. It's philanthropy, so the giving of assets through smart contracts. It's when we use the new tools at our disposal, predominantly, smart contracting platforms and programmable money to generate revenue or generate impact in the philanthropic sector. And I think of smart contract philanthropy as really like in contrast to traditional finance philanthropy, which is, cutting checks or making wire transmissions to different organizations. But instead, we're saying, okay, we have this new tool at our disposal in smart contracts, and we have lots of new financial services built on smart contracts. And how do we fold in philanthropic impact into those services? How do we bring philanthropic outcomes to the smart contracting ecosystem and all of the different financial applications that exist in the smart contract world? And so that's when we say smart contract philanthropy, really what we're saying is like, this is what happens when you mix programmable money and philanthropic good or philanthropic outcomes. And it's been exciting to experiment with this sort of new landscape.
Very nice, Robbie. Well, I suppose we better learn a little bit about yourself then and Endaoment. So, let's do what we always do at the beginning of the show. Please introduce yourself, Robbie. Love to hear just a little bit about your background and why you wanted to get into this I can't even say that word today. Philanthropic. No, I can't say it. Why you wanted to get into this giving space.
Yeah,
do some good. Yeah. Go for gold.
Absolutely. So I started off my crypto journey, as many people do, as a sort of speculative investor. I had a roommate in 2013 who was working on contract at a small startup called Ripple Labs, which famously, runs the XRP currency and sometimes controversially runs the XRP currency. But he came home from work and he was non-technical and he said, I don't really understand what's happening here. And at the time I was working at a big tech company. And so he shared with us some of like the marketing materials for Ripple. And it was, 2013, 2014, and Bitcoin was out there and the Ethereum white paper hadn't even dropped yet. And we read this, primer of information about the cryptocurrency space that Ripple had put together. And it was like this aha moment where it became really obvious that there was that there was something going on in this sort of digital currency, programmable money space. And that was, the push that sent me down the rabbit hole. And so between 2014 and 2015, as Ethereum started to roll out, and into 2016, 17, 18, into that major bull run, and I sort of got really, really curious about the crypto space, and so much so that I was avoiding my day job, basically, or I was getting my day job done as fast as possible, and then I would go and read about crypto stuff. And as I got more and more engrossed in the space, I actually left my old big tech job, and that was like end of 2018. So after the last bull run, I left my big tech gig and decided that I wanted to go full steam into crypto, and did a couple of things. One is I went to as many events as I could. And went and tried to sort of meet and see all of the really smart people who make up this industry. And I also started learning how to code. I started learning how to write Solidity. I started learning how to write JavaScript and React applications. And so the two things sort of meshed together, and at a certain point, I was looking for a project to work on. I was looking for something to kind of test my new coding skills while also getting to play around in the crypto space. And I knew that I wanted the work that I was going to do to have some sort of component that was about giving back. I wanted to sort of feel that ethical connection to my work. I didn't really have that in my previous job. And so that was something that I knew coming into it. And as I was playing with coding and going to crypto events and knew I wanted this impact component, this picture kind of coalesced around, okay, well, what would it be like to build, crypto native infrastructure for giving away these assets to charities? And that was how Endaoment got born. I started working on a prototype and approached a philanthropic organization here in the Bay Area where I live, and asked them if they were open to a proof of concept. And so we did like a first donation proof of concept, and then that turned into an application for tax exempt status, and we incorporated Endaoment and, elected a board of directors and got our tax exemption. And then in 2020, released Endaoment to the public as a crypto native platform for giving basically any crypto asset to any nonprofit. And that's where we're at today. And it's been a wild journey. And if anybody out there is like thinking about jumping full time into Web3, I can't recommend it enough. It's been hugely rewarding.
Awesome, Robbie. And tell me a bit about the background of Endaoment then, in terms of, who else is involved, and is it sort of, you starting something to do some good in the world, and as you put it, to have something that you think you could feel ethically good about. So there's that side of it, but I also, is there a sense of, people who've already done extraordinarily well out of crypto and then deciding to give back? For example, like I see Vance Spencer is on your board, and Vance has been on the show here with me before. So he's from Framework Ventures, isn't he? Which is one of the big, really successful DeFi funds, I think. So yeah, just love to kind of understand, that balance and who else is involved.
Absolutely. Framework has played a very active role in the genesis of Endaoment. We were actually incubated out of their labs entity. They have both a venture arm and a labs arm, which is kind of like a traditional incubator / technology company. And we were the first project to be spun out of their labs entity, and consider that our home, really. And so Vance and Michael, who run Framework, have been very close to the project kind of from inception. And I think that there's sort of a chicken and the egg problem here, which is like a lot of people don't really think about impact until they've made a lot of money. But then once they've made a lot of money, they start thinking about impact. And it's like, well, are the tools there? And so part of what we're trying to do with Endaoment is make sure that as crypto becomes larger and larger by global market cap, that the philanthropic infrastructure is there to support this community with their impact desires, like with their philanthropic goals, as the industry grows. And so, kudos to Vance and Michael and the team at Framework for sort of seeing that as more people make more money, there's going to be more of a need for this kind of philanthropic infrastructure. And that's really the core motivator behind Endaoment is like, okay, we're seeing all of these various financial primitives getting translated from the traditional finance industry into the decentralized finance industry, right? So you have Compound doing borrow lend, you have Aave doing borrow lend, you have, Bond doing, sort of like risk adjusted yield pools. You have yield aggregators like Yearn and Rari. You have derivatives architecture like UMA and Synthetics. And, every core financial service that we see in traditional finance, the crypto industry is clamoring to make the crypto native version of that financial service. And philanthropic financial services are no different, except for the fact that they tend to be sort of the last thing that people bring into a new ecosystem, right? Like giving is normally further down the priority stack than some of these other more, financially lucrative businesses. And Endaoment is here to kind of say, like, it's important that we, from the very early days of crypto, prioritize charitable giving as a part of a robust suite of financial services in the decentralized finance industry. And we're here to translate those primitives, whether it's donor advised funds or field of interest funds or charitable remainder trusts or any other kind of planned giving vehicle, from the traditional finance industry over to the decentralized finance industry. And we want to make sure that we do it in a way that doesn't compromise on crypto first principles, while maintaining the tax advantageous nature of these financial primitives. So we want to make sure that we're giving people the tax break while also using decentralized finance software and services and, building things from the ground up in a decentralized fashion.
Awesome. That makes a lot of sense, Robbie, and I can see that you guys, you put out I think it's called the Endaoment 2021 Impact Report. So I'd love to just pull out some of the data from that report and get you to put it in context for us. So, like for example, I can see in the report you say total donations increased 110x in 2021, going from I think $253,000 in 2020 to $28 million in 2021, and there's a donation volume increase of 14x, and also an average donation size increase of 17x, going from around $5,000 in 2020 to $85,000 in 2021. So I'm interested, Robbie, like some of this will just be because you guys would presumably start small as kind of a literal startup out of the Frameworks incubator, and you'll slowly get bigger. So this will increase, but some of this, of course, will increase as the crypto wave market cycle went through a bit of a bull run across 2020 to 2021. So that's going to naturally impact this as well. So what do you think is what? I'd love to kind of translate that for us, if you like.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, right? It's both a user-based education and awareness growth, and also a market capitalization growth. And when both happen at the same time, that's when we really see those big multipliers. What's exciting about what we saw last year is this mixture of people with large gains who are seeing crypto become a larger part of their net worth and a larger part of their tax bill, turning to their financial advisors and saying, what can I do to manage this tax obligation that I have? And CPAs and financial advisors have known for a long time that donor advised funds are a great way to manage that tax obligation. But what hasn't been known for such a long period of time is that these tools are available inside of the crypto industry and across a wide number of assets. We accepted 41 different kinds of crypto last year across the entire spectrum of projects by market cap. And what we're finding is that, there are lots of individuals who have had some role in the growth of the broader crypto industry. And it feels to them like, they put some money in, whether they invested it or they put some time in, whether it was like their professional output, and they got these tokens back and they weren't worth a whole lot when they got them. And now, oh my goodness, they woke up and it's suddenly this very meaningful amount of money. And what's really heartwarming about this kind of activity is not just that we're seeing huge multiples of the total amount donated or like the average gift size or like the number of different currencies, but that there seems to be a natural proclivity in the crypto industry for people to want to take some of this newly created wealth and give back to the communities that they feel like got them to this place in the first place. And that's really exciting because in the traditional world, there's a little bit less of like a inclination to consider success as luck, right? Like a lot of people see success in the traditional finance world as I put in this effort and this is the output that I got and this is my reward. And I think in the crypto space, because it's a little bit more just you're along for the ride, or like, like there's this sort of sense of like, there's a huge wave coming and are you lucky enough to have gotten onto it when you got onto the wave? And there feels like there's a little bit more of this sort of humility amongst investors who are saying like, I kind of got into this because I thought it would be, a long-term, either it's worth a lot or it's worth nothing. And all of a sudden it's worth a lot. And now I feel like I want to do some good with it. And so more than just the statistics alone, which are really impressive and very cool, I think we're seeing a higher percentage participation rate amongst cryptocurrency investors in philanthropic giving. We're seeing more energy around impact when it comes to project design and governance architectures. This is not just a numbers game for the crypto industry. And I think it's really, really impressive to see a new financial system growing that is putting impact at the core of its values, right alongside profit. And if I had to, advocate for a new financial system, having impact be a part of that new financial system would be critical. And so, we put Endaoment out there hoping to get that validation that people would say, yeah, we agree, this is important. And I think what this impact report shows is that, not only for Endaoment is this important, but, about $330 million was given across all philanthropic outlets via crypto per a Galaxy Digital research report that recently got released. And so to be 10% of that is just a huge honor. But to see that much volume going towards impact in a space that is so nascent and so new, I think really shows where everybody's heart's at here.
Yeah, very nice, Robbie. And talk us through then, like, how does it work in terms of maybe just kind of walk through the, I guess, the user journey, to, if that makes sense. How does someone, decide to engage with Endaoment, and what would that journey look like?
There are a couple of different ways that a user can engage with Endaoment. The simplest and most easy way is to give to an organization that you want to give to by connecting your wallet to the Endaoment interface, finding that organization by searching for them on the organizations tab in Endaoment. And on every organization's profile, there is a donate now button. And you can just click donate and you can select from your wallet what you want to give. And when you give that cryptocurrency, it gets given to Endaoment as the cryptocurrency. So you, the user, do not sell the crypto first, which is really important. And you give that crypto as is to Endaoment. Then we sell it using Uniswap. We sell your crypto for USDC, and we notify the organization that they've received a donation. And we tell them about it in dollar terms. And then they come and they say, okay, either I want this donation as stable coins or I want this donation wired into my bank account. And most organizations choose to get it wired into their bank account. And so we wire it to their bank account. The other user journey is that you know that you want to give some crypto to charity, but you don't know what organizations you want to give it to quite yet, or you want to split that donation up across a bunch of different organizations. And when that's the case, we give users the option of opening or creating their own donor advised fund. And a donor advised fund is basically not legally, but sort of conceptually, it's like a charitable checking account. So you make a donation, same way you would donate directly to an organization, but instead you're donating to a donor advised fund. And so you connect your wallet, you give us the crypto as is, we liquidate that crypto and put the dollars into the donor advised fund, at which point you, the advisor to the donor advised fund, get to recommend grants, which means you then search for organizations and you can give them a small chunk of the balance that's in your donor advised fund. And so depending on the use case, we'll either have donors who want to make a large donation but don't want to give it all to one place. They'll open a donor advised fund and then give out the balance of their donor advised fund to a bunch of different organizations. Or if somebody's making a smaller donation or they really know what organization they want to support, they'll come find that organization and donate directly to that organization. The last use case that we have on Endaoment are called community funds. And community funds are really like a giving circle. Or a group of people coming together to make decisions about how to allocate a pool of capital to nonprofits. So community funds can be NFT projects, they can be protocols, they can be DAOs, they can be really any mechanism for pooling together capital. And then a subset of individuals or a group of individuals come together and make decisions as a group about how they want to give the dollars that are generated from that giving. That's happened across either NFT mints or across usage from a protocol or, a grant from a DAO. They come together to make a decision about what organizations receive that money. But any way you slice it, the user journey is pretty straightforward. It's give crypto to Endaoment. Endaoment turns that crypto into dollars, and either through a donor picking an organization or a group of people picking an organization, those dollars are routed to a single nonprofit or multiple nonprofits.
And how does it work from the nonprofit side, Robbie? Because if you go on your on the Endaoment, on the app or the website, it says, find an organization that matches your mission, choose from over 1.5 million organizations. So I'm sure you haven't, negotiated this individually with 1.5 million different nonprofits, and, because people can search, they can drill down into, any kind of different area that they want to support. How does that work in terms of people getting on there?
The way it works is we approach nonprofits when there's money on the table for them. So we get all of our data. When you search on Endaoment, we use an API called GuideStar. And GuideStar is provided by this company called Candid. And Candid basically indexes all of the United States nonprofit organizations and provides structured API data calls for searching all of those organizations. And we, as Endaoment, a tax-exempt 501c3, can give from Endaoment to any other 501c3 as long as they are in good standing with the IRS and they meet our mission and values statement. And so what we do is we wait until there's money on the table for a nonprofit to say, hey, nonprofit, there's money here for you. Come provide us with either an Ethereum wallet address or a US bank account, and we will get you that money. Nonprofits are used to this. This happens all the time. In fact, the largest nonprofits in the United States are donor advised fund providers just like Endaoment. So popular names in the donor advised fund space are like Fidelity Charitable, Vanguard Charitable, E-Trade Charitable. Like all of the major brokerages have these sort of charitable outlets, as well as community foundations like the Silicon Valley Community Foundation or the Greater Cincinnati Community Foundation or the New York Community Foundation. There are all sorts of different grant-making organizations. These are basically nonprofits who their whole existence is to move money from their nonprofit to other nonprofits. They're called grant-making organizations. And so we at Endaoment are just another grant-making organization. But what we specialize in is taking gifts of cryptocurrency and making grants out to any nonprofit. And so what we do is we basically handle all of the tax receipt, all of the donation processing and grant delivery operations that a nonprofit normally would have to take care of themselves if they wanted to accept a crypto gift. But instead of them having to get all educated about how to liquidate crypto or, you know, what cryptos can get sold for where and how do we turn this into dollars and how do we get those dollars into our bank account, we say, instead, let us take care of that problem. And all we're going to do is just hand you dollars. And so when we approach an organization, oftentimes it doesn't even occur to them that this gift was once cryptocurrency until we explain it to them, because all they're receiving is US dollars. And this makes for a really great, really happy path experience for nonprofits that otherwise would not have exposure to crypto fundraising.
Nice, Robbie. It makes a lot of sense. And if we go back to the report, the Endaoment 2021 Impact Report that you guys put out, you know, one of the trends that you identify, and well, we don't need you to identify it. I mean, we all know NFTs, right? Was was the kind of the crypto breakout story of 2021. But this is relevant to you guys because I think you say 7.4 million of Endaoment's 2021 donations came from NFT projects. So yeah, love to understand a bit more about what that means and what that looked like.
Well, I think as much as NFTs have had a breakout year, they are also confronted with a bit of a sort of like existentialist crisis or like identity crisis in that they're digital art, right? It's this very esoteric, ethereal thing that lives in the cloud. You know, the common refrain is you hear people kind of lamenting that somebody bought a JPEG for X millions of dollars, you know, and like, don't they realize that this is just a JPEG and I can copy, save it if I want to. And you know, we can talk about the merits of digital ownership and NFTs and digital scarcity, but what is connective to Endaoment here, and I think the reason why NFTs played such a large role in our fundraising revenue last year, is that the ability to turn revenue from an NFT sale into real world impact can create this connective tissue between something that is very internet centric and esoteric, like an NFT, and bring it back down to earth and connect it to something real in communities around the country and around the world. We just put out a different impact report with the Stand With Asians Community Fund. And the Stand With Asians Community Fund is a community fund on endowment that was capitalized with the ETH that was raised from the sale of the X times Y equals K trailer video for Uniswap v3. So People Pleaser created a trailer video for Uniswap v3, sold it as an NFT for $700,000+, and then donated all of those proceeds to the Stand With Asians Community Fund. And those proceeds turned into 25 grants of $25,000 to 25 different organizations around the country that support different activities in AAPI communities around the United States. And ultimately, tens of thousands of people who have been feeling scared or unsafe or in need of support as a result of the sort of indiscriminate violence against the AAPI community over the past year have gotten that support because of the sale of this NFT, right? And so being able to draw that line from digital JPEG or digital MP4 that gets sold for millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars to real world impact in underprivileged communities is so helpful in making sense of what the possibilities are for NFTs. And I think that we're really lucky to be able to provide this service while the NFT space is having this sort of, bull run moment, because it helps translate the value of crypto for the people who struggle to see it just in theory alone. Right? This is such a tangible example of how NFTs can make for economic change, not just for a creator or an artist, but for, the causes and communities that they care about. And I think that is a tremendous use case or story for the crypto community to tell to the broader mainstream media to help them understand what's possible with NFTs that wasn't possible before or was hard to do before.
Yeah, and I think if you take that kind of idea one step further and into the realm of the slightly fantastic, Robbie, it's kind of this idea of, crypto over the last 13 years following Bitcoin, we've kind of invented this idea of magic internet money, right? And then through the DeFi wave and the NFT wave, increasingly esoteric, new and exciting forms of magic internet money and wealth have been created with the real in real life, real world power to do immense good, and that's kind of amazing, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't just stop at underprivileged communities. We hear a lot about the environmental impact of the crypto landscape. And what Endaoment is able to provide is this infrastructure to say, okay, we see that there's an environmental impact here to this, fundraising activity that we're doing with NFTs. What if we could offset that activity by taking 5% or 25% or 50% of the value created by these NFTs and buy carbon offsets with it, or, support rainforest protection, or, help gorilla conservation, gorilla habitat conservation in sub-Saharan Africa, right? So there's really this way to both showcase the capability of the new technology while also addressing its criticisms in the same breath with NFT-powered nonprofit fundraising. And I think that's a superpower for the broader crypto space, to be able to kind of say, not only is this really exciting and interesting and driving huge capital formation, but it is also in a place where the tools exist to address the most common criticisms of this technology as we are using it for new and exciting applications.
I love that, Robbie. That makes a lot of sense as well. And look, I was looking through the Endaoment Twitter, and I think you guys retweeted. So I just saw a tweet. I think it's from SkaterDAO. And look, I don't know anything about SkaterDAO, but I think it's it's obviously it's a DAO and it's based on skateboarding. But they said they have issued their first grant to famous skateboarder Tony Hawk. They've issued their first grant to Tony Hawk's charity, which is called Skate Park, and I believe it's about building safe and inclusive public skate parks around the US, presumably, for youth. So
Exactly.
You just kind of extrapolate that out, and anyone in crypto or otherwise can set up any kind of DAO, and anything they want to do in the world, they can kind of do that in a decentralized DAO-like manner, and then through organizations such as yourself, they can direct that capital to anywhere they want, really. So I guess, just as we finish off this part of the podcast, Robbie, how do you see this evolving? What's sort of on the roadmap, if you like, for you guys? What do you want to achieve in the next year or two, and then look out further? Where does this go?
Yeah, this is something that we're experimenting a lot with. What we've been fortunate enough to do is to serve as a grant-making institution for DAOs that want to deploy some of their capital into nonprofits. But taking that idea further, if we look at some of the fantastic work that's been happening over at the Syndicate DAO, where you can easily bootstrap an investment club using the Syndicate DAO's new investment club interface, we're really inspired by that and looking forward to bringing to market the concept of anybody coming together and creating what we're calling an impact DAO, right? And so how do we create an interface and marry it with legal agreements that create the necessary tools for a group of people to come and raise capital in a tax-exempt way, and then work together using token-powered governance to distribute that capital across a mission that they've defined for themselves. And that's like a bottomless theoretical pit of possible applications, right? Like if you can come up with a mission that has a sort of tax exempt or educational, research focused or religious focused mission, we can provide a tax exempt capital formation tool set to people to be able to make grants that fall in line with that mission. And that is something that is particularly exciting to us because really it's another way for the crypto industry to show rather than tell people what the potential impact of this technology could be, right? Like, how do we take people from the place of being like, DAOs could transform the way that philanthropy gets allocated across the global economy to, we actually have the tool and you can now fundraise for any particular cause and drive capital towards that particular cause using these new token powered governance architectures to do so. And so we're doing that right now on sort of a bespoke one at a time relationship, right? That's what you see with the Skater DAO and things like the Elf DAO or, the Constitution DAO, which we were lucky enough to play a role in being the fiscal sponsor of. And we're looking forward to taking those bespoke applications, standardizing them, and making it such that anybody can come and start an impact DAO that is tax exempt as long as they commit to a particular mission or a particular sort of cause that they're going to support. And that's really exciting, right? That's where we get to the good stuff of like marrying the new token powered governance tools with the existing regulatory framework that enables people to raise capital in a tax exempt way.
Awesome. Very exciting stuff, Robbie. Well, let's go to a very quick break and then we'll come back and we'll finish off. We'll have some fun. We'll do the very famous Crypto Conversation hot take round.
Ooh.
In today's crypto market, the team at Brave New Coin are the sector's leading builders of custom crypto indices. BNC's powerful indexing engine draws on Brave New Coin's premium data to calculate high-frequency intraday and end-of-day indices for a wide range of index products. BNC's custom indices help you to gain exposure to the crypto assets class and track your performance against the market without having to become a stock picker. Not sure what you need? A Brave New Coin consultant can help you assess your requirements. Contact BNC today to find out more.
All right, we're back, and I'm with Robbie Heger. Robbie is the president and CEO of Endaoment, the first fully on-chain 501c3 tax-exempt public charity, providing a wide range of philanthropic financial services. And as I said, Robbie, you like to finish each Crypto Conversation podcast with just a quick round of rapid-fire Crypto Conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
All right, let's do it. I'm ready.
Let's do it, Robbie. So just quick, snappy answers, hot take style, just a bit of fun.
Sure.
Question one, where do you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-coin opportunist spectrum?
Multi-coin opportunist. We're all on the same team here, folks.
Yep, makes sense. Hard to argue with that, Robbie. Well, what would you say then is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
Programmable money will have the same impact on society that programmable information or programmable social identity had on the world. So hold on to your butts.
I like it. Well, in that case, Robbie, you know, Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. So with that in mind, you know, what does this look like? What is programmable money, programmable giving? What does it look like in 10 years' time?
I think in 10 years' time, the concept of internet money will actually take the role of money, period. Just in the same way that, like, you know, you had publishers who were, you know, internet publishers, and now anybody who's a publisher is already on the internet. It is assumed that you are an internet publisher if you are a publisher. I think the same will be true for internet money, that all money will be programmable come in 10 years, and, you know, we probably won't be there in 2 years.
Yes, indeed. Okay, well, the flip side of that is, you know, sci-fi author William Gibson said that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. Can you think of an example of the future being here right now, Robbie, but most people just aren't really aware of it?
Stable coins feel like the future is now, but people just don't understand that it's here. Like, I struggle to understand why anybody in the United States continues to hold a savings account when they could hold USDC and earn 4% on it instead of having a savings account. And that just feels like an education gap. I spend a lot of time with people, like, teaching them crypto basics, like whether they're my friends or family or government regulators or other entrepreneurs who are trying to get into the crypto space. And there's always this aha moment when they take $1,000 of USDC and put it into Compound or Aave or USDC Yield and start to earn interest on it that, like, blows their checking account, their savings account out of the water. And I think, like, that is the perfect example of, like, the future is here, and it's just like, do you know how to use it or not?
Exactly right. Wonderfully said, Robbie. All right, time to zoom out, time to get weird for just a second. What do you see as the long-term future for the human race? Do you see dystopia or utopia?
I think binary options are flawed from the start, so it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. I think humanity is going to figure it out, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. We have a huge crisis on our hands when it comes to the global experiment that we're running, where we pump as much carbon into the atmosphere as humanly possible. And that's really scary, but I genuinely think that humanity will rise to the challenge, and that, globally connected economies and programmable money will play a huge role in finding a new equilibrium for the human race's impact on the broader planet. I'll stop there.
Fair enough, Robbie. I like it. Let's close this out. What is your favorite science fiction book, film, TV show, or universe?
Wow. Great question. I just had my mind blown a couple years ago by the Three Body Problem trilogy, and I'm sure somebody's answered with that answer before, but I'm going to go with the Three Body Problem trilogy. I would say that that just pushed my Western-centric thinking so far out of its comfort zone that I think everybody should read it, and I loved that book series. But I am in the middle of reading Cryptonomicon, which has been very good.
Yes.
Yeah,
Cryptonomicon, man, it's a beast of a book though, isn't it? God, it's long.
Oh man, it's nice. I don't ever worry about when I'm going to finish it, because it's never going to end.
Yeah. It's a Neil Stephenson classic from, I think it's back from the 90s, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely early internet vibes. It's great. It's so good.
Awesome. Hey, this has been fun, Robbie. Thank you for coming on the show. Nothing else to say except to hand the metaphorical microphone back to your good self. Please, tell the people where they can find you on Twitter or wherever you hang out, and where they should go to learn more about what you guys are doing at Endaoment, and how people can get involved and really do some good.
Oh, for sure. You can follow Endaoment on Twitter at endaoment.org. That's ENDAOMENTDOTORG. And you can come join us on Discord at discord.gg/Endaoment. And you can follow me for some unsolicited hot takes and food recommendations at Robbie Heeger, ROBBIEHEEGER.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Robbie. All the best, and bye for now.
Thanks so much, Andy.
All right, there you go. That was Robbie from Endaoment. Very cool to see, what those guys are doing. And as I said, I just love this idea of people effectively inventing new and increasingly esoteric forms of magic internet money, and kind of, willing this new wealth into existence, and effectively giving themselves the power to do good in the world, give something back. So, I like it. All right. Thanks for listening, team. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe to the Crypto Conversation podcast in whatever podcast app you are using. That's today's show. Thanks for listening. We'll see you real soon. See you next time. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin. See ya.